Hey guys, this is Carter Thomas of Blue Cloud Solutions, and today we are talking all about hacking app success. And I want to show you the 6 easy ways that you can dominate in this fast-moving app business, this amazing, wonderful journey of mobile apps. And so we put together a workshop for you, and in this workshop, you are going to learn these 6 mistakes that have app entrepreneurs just like you stuck in neutral. We see this all the time. Whether or not you've built any apps, maybe you're just getting started, maybe you just wanted to see what's going on in the app business, stick around for this because these are the mistakes that just crush people. 90% of the people that end up quitting is because of these 6 easy mistakes. And I'm going to show you exactly what you can do to avoid them and really accelerate your business. And to be honest, this is what keeps people in that 3 to 4 figure range and doesn't get them up to the 6-7 figure range, a month. That's kind of how we talk in the app business. And this is really a wake up call to anybody out there who has been on the sidelines. Maybe you have a couple apps, maybe you don't have any apps yet. This presentation should be considered a wake up call for you, whether you know it or not. I really want you to succeed with this. I want you to take action, and I want to show you everything that you can do about it. And by the end of this presentation, you're going to know exactly what you need and how to implement it immediately so that you can leave this presentation, you can take action for quick, measurable results. And I'm going to show you each step of the way, what it is, why it's important, and what you can do about it right now. So just a quick introduction. I just want to introduce myself and the Blue Cloud team. I've built over 1,500 apps. I should say our companies have built over 1,500 apps, 19, maybe even $20 million now. I've built multiple other businesses. We've done well into 7 figures a year, featured on plenty of different publications, talking all about mobile apps, mobile games, how to build online businesses. I'm an active investor in both venture capital and in a lot of different currencies and asset classes. And I would say most importantly, I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur. I do not see myself slaving away every day. If I'm going to do all this stuff, I want to be, when I'm in Hawaii, swimming with people I love. That's really why I built these businesses, and that's what I'm all about. Just to give you a quick overview of who you're getting involved with here. Now, Mark is the right-hand man. Mark has done an amazing job with Blue Cloud and just in the app business in general. Mark's built and published over 2,500 apps. He's worked with lots of different people as a consultant, as a project manager, as a developer. He's ranked number 1 on the App Store. He's hit the number 1 spot in multiple categories. He's been our lead project manager here at Blue Cloud for a long time. He's done a terrific job at it. And he's been involved with the acquisition of 6 different app companies from start to finish. So he's seen these from the first app in the store all the way to being exited 6 separate times. And in true mobile lifestyle format, Mark is a digital nomad sommelier where he travels around the world and tastes amazing wine with amazing people. So Mark is a terrific person to have on the team, and he helps just as much as everyone else in the Blue Cloud community. Now, this presentation is for a few different people, so it's important that if you are just kind of in the background, it's maybe the audio is running, take 2 minutes and just listen to this. This is who this presentation is for, and see which one of these you identify most with. The first is you do not have an app business, and you're kind of looking at the app business, but you're apprehensive because you do not want to get stuck in another one of those online businesses that ends up taking you 9 months to see anything happen and just get stuck in this slow lane, right? How many of us see those kind of offers and online businesses happening where it just takes forever? Or maybe you have an app business, but it's just not growing the way you want it to. It's not what you thought it could be. Now, the other side of the coin is that you have a big vision, but you're working by yourself and you have a little network. I mean, some of you out there are watching this and you may have an app and maybe it's doing kind of well, but you're living somewhere, or you're in a situation where you don't have access to big thinkers or to big businesses or to big networks, right? Or finally, you've exhausted the traditional app business strategies, right? You've done the App Store optimization. You've tried Facebook ads. You've reached out to a few influencers and nothing's really clicked for you. If you were any of those people, the strategies that you were about to learn in this presentation will help you. It will help you bypass a lot of wasted time and help you get results that you need to go to the next level. Now, the big question, I think this is an important question. I always ask this. Think back to 1 year ago this month. Right? Really think back to 1 year ago. And what did you imagine this year would look like? Are you really where you wanted to be? This at our live events, we always talk about this. In fact, I would send out letters 30 days after the event that people had written to themselves and ask them, hey, are you where you wanted to be? Did you achieve the goals you wanted to achieve? But most people never are because they never level up, right? They wait for their environments to change so they do not have to, secretly hoping for the next reskinning gold mine or some trick that will change everything. I think we can all relate to this, where it's very daunting to make things happen, to change, to look at some new endeavor, whether it be the app business or anything, and secretly think that, man, that'd be great if I could do that, but I'm just going to, if something really good comes along that looks like maybe I can do it, I guess I'll dip my toe in again. And guys, I'm here to tell you, there's a great quote, a young man waiting without ambition is an old man waiting to be. Right? You have to be on offense if you want to see progress. And I'm not talking about just in business. This is true in life. And that will translate into every single thing you do in business. Now, the good news is there is something you can do about it today. If you watch this presentation, by the end of this, there will be things that you can do and take action on today. And a path different than the typical information than you may be used to. But you're not looking for typical information anymore. I mean, that's why you're here. It's because you've read the blog posts, you've seen the videos, and now you're looking for something different. Now let's talk about how you can massively grow your app business today. And the best place to do that is to start by understanding the 6 mistakes that app entrepreneurs or aspiring app entrepreneurs are doing that are stopping them from getting the billions of dollars apps are pulling in, right? It's important to remember the app business has never, ever been as big as it is right now. Apple and Google are both producing record profits every single month, and that is going to continue. There is no shortage of money to be made in the app business. And if you avoid these 6 mistakes, the chances of you getting a piece of that action goes up considerably. All right? Now let's dive in. If you have a piece of notepad or something to take notes, I would highly encourage you to, because these will be helpful. Mistake number 1, waking up and going through the same motions. In fact, you might be watching this presentation and your mind may be drifting away right now. Or maybe you look back and you're drinking over coffee and this is just another day just like everything else. This happens to everybody. Right? You end up just checking the same reports, same charts, listening to the same thing over and over. There's nobody really holding you accountable or telling you to change. You just kind of keep doing it because that's what's easy to do. And you're not moving forward. At least you don't feel like you're moving forward because you're not totally immersed. You're not believing in what you're doing. You're waking up and you're just kind of blah. Right? That's just what happens to so many people, especially when they lose that initial burst of progress. Now, the thing is, the algorithm is not going to magically change for you, right? Your business is not just going to go double or 5x or 20x on its own. Meaning, if you do not change, if you go through the same motions, guess what? Nothing else is going to change. The amount of money you is not going to change that you're making. The amount of downloads you're getting is not going to change. It all starts with breaking the current habits that you're in. You have to wake up. And I'm not saying you got to start drinking 5 more cups of coffee. You need to be smart about it. You need to think like an entrepreneur, think like a millionaire. And the way you do that is with systems. And a lot of people, they think that it's out of reach, that they themselves don't need systems or they can't use systems. And I'm here to tell you that this building systems will single-handedly make you more money and give you more peace of mind than anything else in the entire world. That is a firm promise that I can guarantee you, right? If something cannot be systematized, it's not scalable. Meaning, if you look at your day if you're looking at what's going on in your current life or in your current business, and you're like, well, I don't know how to systematize that. I need to make decisions on everything. Then you're not running a business. You have a job. Your job is to manage whatever tasks you cannot systematize. So you need to stop and look at what you're doing and ask yourself, am I really running a business here? Because this is the ceiling that entrepreneurs create for themselves, especially in the app business. It's so easy to do this. Just wake up and check the revenue reports, check the downloads, check the progress from the devs, and not ask questions, hey, how do I systematize what I'm doing? You got to start asking, well, what do I systematize? Who do I hire? What if they don't do it right? How do I do it? And the thing is, it's a lot easier than people think. And here are the exact steps, right? So if you are in a position where you are going through the same motions, whether you have an app yet or you don't have an app yet, you need to start looking at your day in terms of why am I repeating these processes? How can I create systems around them so that instead of actually operating these systems, I'm managing these systems? Okay, that's a really important difference. Now, here's how you do it. Step 1, identify the end goal. So you got to identify what the end goal is. And this may cut out half the stuff you're doing already, right? You got to ask yourself, why am I checking this revenue report? What's the goal of this? Does it really matter? So you got to identify what the end goal is of everything you're already doing. Now, once you find the end goal, so let's say you're finding some keywords for your app, step 2 is you back out the steps required to get to that end goal. So you look at what you would do if you wanted to get to that end goal. So if you wanted to go find some keywords, you would say, all right, well, I would open up this website and then I would log in with this account and I would go to this area and I would type in these keywords and then this is how I would do research. And you write down all the steps. And more importantly, you just screencast yourself doing it. You're going through those steps, talking out loud about what you are doing. Just freestyle. Just pretend like you're just talking to the screen and you got the screencast running while you do all this. Then hand the videos off to somebody else and ask them to recreate your results. It's really that simple, guys. And if you can't do it the first time, take a step back, come back an hour later and try it again. It does not have to be perfect. But this simple exercise, if you do this today or tomorrow, I promise you, it will blow your mind at how effective this is, because once it's done once, it's done forever. It's amazing. Every reason you find for not doing this is an excuse. This literally takes 10 minutes to do. You just open up QuickTime on your computer or whatever computer program you have and screencast yourself. You can do things like market research about how you're finding niches, how you're finding keywords, how you're finding influencers if you're partnering with influencers, how you are improving your product, right? Everything that you're doing right now over and over, you should be screencasting and talking out loud so that you can turn into a system that somebody else can do for you. Now, if you can't figure out how it can be systematized, you need to find a way to remove it. This is an important piece. If you're looking at what you're doing and saying, well, there's no way anyone else could ever do this, you need to ask yourself, why am I still doing this, right? How is this a real business? And those are the one-time events, and eventually you need to remove those from your business. Systems are going to set you free. Systems are going to lead to the lifestyle that you want, and they're going to lead to the income that you want. And it all starts with breaking it down, cataloging it, and handing it to somebody else. That is one of the biggest mistakes, one of the easiest solutions that you can make, that entrepreneurs mess up, that you do not have to mess up. And you can start doing that today. All right? Second mistake is not testing and getting zero feedback. We live in a world, a digital world, that is amazing, that it connects us all in many ways around the globe online. But let's be real, it's hard to have networks. It's hard to have peer groups. It's hard to have people that can help you out and test with you and give you feedback on what you're doing, right? And so what happens is that people end up making apps or hiring a developer who makes an app. And when they make these apps, they just assume that the user is just going to know what to do. Like, you've built it all or you've worked on it and you're just like, well, of course everyone's going to love this app because it's the best. And I spent so much time and money on this. Like, of course this has to be amazing. and you don't go through all the details. You don't get feedback. You don't check out the user interface. You don't check out how the navigation looks. You don't see if it works on the iPad or on the iPhone or a new iPhone or an old iPhone or a Samsung device or anything like that. And you just assume all these things are going to be true because you're not asking real people. You don't have a crew that can give you that feedback and help you test it. And my homie Trey, who owns a company, a gaming company, he always says, if you think your app is great, then it's about 50% done. And I love that, because when you think it's awesome and done, chances are you're about halfway there. Not because you haven't put in the work, but because you now have to go ask other people to help you out. In order to make a great app, you need to test, and always be testing. Just keep testing and have other people that can help you out. Now, the biggest reason why people don't do this is because they do not have people or an advisor or somebody they can reach out to and say, hey, can you test this for me? Can you give me some feedback? And more importantly, they do not have accountability. They might get feedback, but then there's no consequences, right? And without consequences, there's no reason for urgency. If someone says, hey, I don't think that this app crashed when I was on my iPhone 6 or iPhone 8 or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's fine, but you don't actually turn it into a deadline, then what's the point? Who cares? You need not only feedback, you need accountability with that feedback, right? And that also means that you don't need to be disorganized. It doesn't mean that you need to freak out about it. It just means that you got to have good time management. No BS. No more wasting time. You can see a pattern here of what makes people successful. They just don't waste time. And without someone holding you accountable, you'll probably never reach this level of urgency. We're human beings. It's almost impossible to hold ourselves to those kind of standards day in and day out. You're going to allow emotions to dictate decisions. You're not going to feel like it one day. All that sort of thing will happen to everybody. Because the average entrepreneur, whether they're in apps or not, they focus on how they feel. They focus on getting into an easy routine. They don't have real consequences if the work isn't done. They'll say, oh, well, I'll just get it done tomorrow. What are you going to do? But if you want to go to the next level, and the reason why I'm talking about 6-7 figure entrepreneurs is because that's where you guys should be. That's where you deserve to be. You shouldn't be thinking about making $100 a month. You should be thinking about making $100,000 a month, right? Why not? It's the same amount of effort to think big it is to think small. And 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs, they have clear goals and clear steps. They have people relying on those steps to happen. And if they don't get it done, there's consequences. They have something to lose. And so most beginner, mid-level entrepreneurs never step up because they're terrified that they're not going to meet the standards that they are capable of. Now, here's exactly what you can do about this. You got to be accountable to somebody who can and will help you. All right, that's really important, where you go and find somebody. You can go find them online. You can find them in your neighborhood. You can find them anywhere. But you got to be accountable to somebody else, and they need to be accountable to you. You got to go in fully. You got to commit to that. And you got to make the stakes high enough to be meaningful for you. With plenty of business partners, I have often made deals with them where I said, look, if I don't get this done by Friday, I'm going to write you a check for $25,000. And I will promise you, you will get everything done if you make a deal like that. Now, I'm not saying you got to go and risk that kind of money or anything, but the point is, if you put yourself on the hook to get it done and you have someone else who's going to hold you accountable for it, you're going to get it done. You're going to get great feedback. You're going to ask better questions, and you're going to make sure that it gets done. And if you do that, you're going to see massive results. That brings us into the third mistake, right? And this is all about being too broad. How many of us have products that we absolutely love using, and they're so specific to us, and they dial in exactly our interests and who we are? But then we see all these other people who make the most generic products, right? They get into the app business and they don't think specific at all. They get super general about it. And that just kills your ability to connect with an audience, right? Because you end up trying to serve everybody and you spread yourself too thin, right? As they say, he who is friends with everyone is friends with no one, right? You got to have a core customer. You can't relate to your customer in support tickets if you don't understand what their problems are, what their fears are, things like that. There's a lot of competition if you don't go niche, right? Because you can't differentiate yourself. And honestly, it's a lot less fun. If you're not really working with people that are really passionate about topics, you're not serving them with those topics or those passions, it's not that fun. You're not going to have anybody who loves your app. And that's really what makes this a lot of fun day in and day out. And when there's only 24 hours a day, you can't be everything to all people. I've seen people try, and it's almost impossible unless you got a big team and a big budget. And you got to ask yourself, who would you rather be, right? Do you want to go up against these massive conglomerate apps that have tens of millions of dollars to spend? Or would you rather go into a smaller pond and absolutely dominate and crush it, realizing that there's 60, 70, 80 billion dollars to get? You do not need to be competing with the top dogs to go get a huge amount of money, right? I mean, I work with many of these apps. I have offices next to them, some of these huge apps, and they have so much money but yet we can still build apps day in and day out that consistently bring in massive amounts of cash because we go in against the smaller and more effective niche markets. You will reach much more success as a top 10 in a niche than a top 10 overall, right? The law of power will tell you it's so much better to be a big fish in a small pond in any sort of environment like the App Store. So what you need to do is look at what your idea is, or look at your current project and think about what is the niche I'm going after? More specifically, who are the people that I'm going after? Am I really going after a specific person who has specific passions and fears and interests? That's the key. All right. Now, the fourth mistake people make that ends up tanking what they're doing is that they try to build a very high effort marketing plan. And I see people doing this all the time where they spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours trying to muscle their way into marketing. And then they look and they see all these other marketers where we just don't have to put in this level of craziness, and yet we can get disproportionately high results. Because what happens when you try to muscle it, when you put in all this crazy high unfocused effort, is that you don't get clear results. You can't measure your progress. You do not get diehard fans. You end up not getting that many downloads. You certainly don't make very much revenue, and you will not have a lot of fun doing it. This is what happens when you wake up every day and think that by drinking 9 Red Bulls and muscling your way through business that you are going to build the best company ever. It doesn't work like that. That's why a majority of marketing efforts fail. Now, if you want to find results that get results and grow, you must keep learning and keep experimenting. The problem is when you find something that works, it's exhausting to scale. Meaning, if you are used to a high effort marketing plan and then you find something that actually does click, guess what the answer is? More effort. You got to drink 18 Red Bulls instead of 9. I mean, who's going to... Don't do that, right? Please don't do that. But there is a better answer, and that is leverage. And if you have ever experienced what it's like to have leverage, you understand how amazing this is from a business and app entrepreneur standpoint. This is when you use existing infrastructure to disproportionately grow your own business, right? This is a great representation. When you're making 2, 3, maybe 4 figures a month, this is what it feels like. It feels like you got the weight on the back of your shoulders. You're responsible for every single dollar that comes in. You got to personally go out and find these people and talk to them and bring it and eke out every single dollar, while people who are making 4, 5, 6, 7 figures a month are going out and they're finding ways to leverage their apps. They're leveraging existing audiences. They're leveraging platforms that can get millions of people into their apps who will pay enormous amounts of money to use the content that you are providing. Leverage allows you to leapfrog faster than everything else. And this is probably the most important thing that I've realized in the last 10 years of being in startup culture, and 7 or 8 years now of being my own having my own business, is that you constantly need to look for leverage. You never want to reinvent the wheel yourself. You always want to find other people that have already done it and then just leverage what they've already done with your existing app. This is the ultimate hack in business and in the app business. And that's what people always ask me. They say, Carter, if you're going to start over again, if you were to start from scratch, what would you do? And what people don't realize is that I have started over, not always in the app business, but I've built multiple online businesses that have nothing to do with the app business where I have started from zero. And what always happens is that I'm not trying to find some of the same hack that worked at some point where I try to pick the winning category, pick a new reskinning craze or what template. Like, there's no individual hack. What it comes down to every single time, and the same is true with all businesses I've built and all the app businesses, is leverage. It is realizing that if I get on the phone and call my friends or call people or email people that I do not know and find ways to use and leverage their existing marketing channels, I will have massive, massive results in about 1/10 of the time. Right? I go out and I find people that are publishers, or I go find communities or influencers in those communities. I go find other apps that have already done all the hard work. I go find anybody who's got a huge following, and then I go help them in some way or do a deal with them in some way to leverage all the people that they have already gotten together. I mean, a good example is what Mark did. Mark took the sausage emoji app and went out and found a couple influencers, some of the top Instagram influencers in the world, and in 30 days pulled in almost $9,000, right? Imagine if he tried to build an audience of 400,000 people on his own from scratch, which is what everybody is trying to do. Like, all these people that get burnt out, they try to do that. What Mark did is he just reached out to a few different people, found a great group in Australia, leveraged their audience, and made a pile of money way faster. It's just such a better method of doing it. And everything about this works better than trying to do it yourself. So all you have to do is go find established audiences and leverage them to your brand or your product. Do you see how this is all coming together, right? You've got systems and you've got a niche market and you're starting to use leverage and you're starting to really crystallize what it is you're doing so you're not wasting time and you're building amazing products that people actually like. So that when you go find these audiences, you're saying, hey, I've got this awesome product that's been tested. I've got a whole system that can manage everything about it. It's really dialed in for this niche market of yours. And I can do a deal with you to make sure that this leverages because I know you need this. All of these things start to weave together, and it can happen in a matter of weeks. I mean, it can happen in a matter of days if you really wanted it to. And it can save you years of wasted money and stress and all the things that just end people, that just ruin their chances of really making it big. So all you got to do, go find these audiences, leverage them to your brand or product. Mistake number 5, under monetizing. Okay, this is an important one. Most people in the app business have a very hard time with asking people to give them money. And the only reason that is true is because you're not looking at it the right way, which I'll talk about in a second. Now, when you under monetize, what happens is that you build an app and you put it in the app store and you're only offering like one thing that they can buy, or maybe you're only showing an advertisement one time and you're only charging 99 cents for it because you only think it's worth 99 cents. And it's only in-app purchases. You're not selling anything else in the store. You're not collecting any emails to offer any products. You don't have any way of marketing to them. You're not running any ads or anything. You're just giving away everything for free and hoping that a few people might buy it for $1. This is what most people do in the app business. But the problem is that this is not a formula for making a lot of money, right? The more you offer, the more you're going to make. The more things you give people to spend their money on, if they love your product and if it's a niche market that is leveraged into an awesome audience, the more you offer them, the more money you were going to make. And that doesn't have to be salesy at all. It just means that when you have a niche market with a great app, the customers want to buy more. This is, I think, one of the biggest misconceptions that I've met with app entrepreneurs and people that want to get in the app business is that they forget that if you have a great product, if you make something amazing and people really like it, people want to buy more stuff, right? Think about your favorite app or your favorite brand, and think about if they only offered one thing to buy. Imagine if Netflix only had 4 TV shows and it was, House of Cards, and that was it. And they said, well, we're not going to make any more TV because, we want to make sure you guys get the most value. No way. You want more shows, right? The same is true in your app. It doesn't matter if you're building a calculator app or a translator app or a game, anything. If you make a great experience for the right person, the more you offer them, the more they will be excited to pay for it, the more they want to give you money. And people underestimate this all the time. And so the way you do this is you over-deliver with paid access. Now, this is an important caveat, right? If you have an app, you'll understand this. If you don't have an app, this is about to save you 2 months of headaches of trying to figure out how to monetize your apps. Use paywalls to deliver above and beyond experiences. That can be in-app purchases. It can be subscriptions. It can be whatever you want it to be. But you need to create a paywall, meaning people need to pay to get access to the best parts of your app. A good example is Calm. Great meditation app. I love these guys. Met Alex, the founder, great guy. What they do is they give you a terrific free experience. Download it. You can use it for free. It's awesome. But then everything else is behind a paid subscription service. So, hey, if you want one free meditation, terrific. Check it out. But then if you want a whole library of all these amazing services and different meditations that you can do and all the things that people who love meditation want to have, they just put it behind a paywall. They put it behind a subscription and an in-app purchase, and they say, listen, join up and you get everything. And people are happy to do it. So you just tease people, not tease people, that's the wrong word. You offer people the free experience, you over-deliver to them, you show them how good the quality is, and then you give them access to way more of it behind a paid service. Now in games, that can be more of the coins or whatever it may be, but you got to deliver the first free coins in an amazing way, and then they're going to drop plenty of money to get access to more. And I think the other question I would ask you is something you need to think about. What would you be able to give your users if you had a $100,000 a month budget? A lot of people think that, oh man, if I offer this, I'm going to make all this money. And the way you really want to think about this is if people pay you more money, it means that you can build better products for them. You can do more for your existing customers. So the guys at Calm, for example, they're making millions of dollars a month. But that allows them to hire better people who record better meditations. You, if you made more money, could go hire better designers. You could go hire content creators. You can go hire all these people if you just started making more money. And that is the way you should be thinking about this. How can you serve your audience if you have more money? And then you start charging more money, you start making better products, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is a huge one that anybody can take advantage of. Lastly, the biggest mistake we see is that people just end up playing too small in the entrepreneur game. When people get into the app business, they are trying to use apps to solve a specific problem that they have, typically around income. What I mean by that is they don't like their job, and so they need to replace their salary. Let's say they make $3,000 a month, and they look at apps and say, well, if I just make $3,000 a month, I can leave my job. Or if I just make $900 a month, I can pay my car or house payment or whatever, your credit card payment or whatever. And they just think about what the current problems in their life are, and they use apps as a way to fill in those problems. That is what most people do. But what happens is when you start to play small, when you start to think small, is that it holds you back, right? Because you don't think about reinvesting into new businesses or new ventures, into new products, into new development. You sabotage your potential earnings by believing you do not deserve it. This happens over and over because people think about apps as a way to solve small problems, and so they build apps that get small results. They don't think about the potential of what their life could be, not because they don't have the dream or because they don't deserve it. It's because they're just not trying to solve that problem. They've got more immediate problems in their life. They've got to pay their bills, or they've got to, get some money for any sort of thing that requires money, right? They got a debt that they got to pay off. And that's what happens when you play small. And Tony Hsieh, great guy, met Tony down in Vegas a couple of years ago. He said, whatever you're thinking, think bigger. I'm here to tell you, as proof, as a guy from Maine, right, the state of Maine in the United States, grew up right outside of a farm, right? Two streets away were farms where I grew up. Okay, we did not have a lot of money growing up. What I can tell you is that it is just as easy to think about making $1 million a month as it is to think about making $1,000 a month. It is just as easy to think about 10xing your salary as it is to think about 10%ing your salary. And if nothing else out of this presentation, I would encourage everybody here to realize that one truth is that you do not need to spend the rest of your life thinking about solving the immediate problems around you right now. You can think bigger. You can think about that life that you've always thought about, that you've always wished for. It is just as easy to put those thoughts in your head. It just takes practice. You are not used to it yet. Now, there's a way to do this, and the way to do that is massive action. This is the key to everything. It's the key to all results. It is time and time again proven to be the key to all results. You got to realize that life and business is already moving at a particular speed, and you must exceed this in a large way. Meaning, if you just wake up and say, okay, well, yeah, I'll start thinking bigger and I'll start doing some stuff and getting some leverage. What I'm saying is you have to go way bigger. You got to really put the gas on so that you can break out of your old habits and really start getting to work on this. I mean, maybe it's today, maybe it's tomorrow, but massive action. You have to exceed the momentum that's already against you. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means that you need to have that mindset. Now, you can do this in one of two ways. All right. The first way, which is the small way, is you think about your existing problems and how much they're weighing you down. You think about the app business. You think about anything you're doing with your time as a way to relieve the pain that life is bringing you. That is what it feels like. That is what it is to think small. Or you could start to think big. And instead of looking at business and your apps as a relief of pain, as a way to replace the thing that you don't like, you start to look at it as a tool, as an opportunity. You start to look at it as the future, as your future. You start to see that this is the conduit at which you can reach and achieve anything you want. And when you make that shift, everything changes. And one of the most deadly forces on the world is convincing yourself that you can't make that shift because the pain feels so immediate. And I'm here to tell you that you have to just start. You just got to start thinking about that life you want and think about it all the time as aggressively as you can. And don't let people push you down or hold you down. Because otherwise, you're going to start putting energy into places that that aren't creating leverage or amplitude or scale, right? You start thinking about things that resolve your problems on a day-to-day basis. You don't start thinking about anything that's going to move you down the road in a big way. You start just thinking about, man, oh, that guy he was so mean to me, or I didn't make enough money this week, or whatever. And that becomes your entire life. That consumes you in a full and complete way. And the easiest way to tell whether or not your business or your current efforts are doing this is whether or not it's draining you or fueling you. If you wake up and you look at your app business, or you look at your current job, or you look at anything and it is draining you, you need to really take a step back and ask yourself, why is this not fueling me? What about this process is not exciting to me? Because I can tell you, it doesn't matter how much money it makes. If it drains you when it's making $100 a month, it's going to drain you when it's making $100,000 a month. It will not change. The only thing that will change is whether or not you are stoked about where it's taking you. And that is the difference. That's the difference between playing small and playing big, right? So massive action is not about just putting in the work. It's about putting it in the right places. It's about multiplying your efforts. It is about shifting from your immediate pains and concerns and shifting to the future that you deserve, that you should have, and changing the way that you approach your life. But it requires fighting the forces that are currently against you, that have been building for your entire life. You need to break through those with massive action and see where you are going and be certain that it's where you're going to take you, right? And that is how you get to the next level. Now, everyone makes all these mistakes, all right? The reason why we put this list together is because this is a list of what we see. I mean, I would say 80-90% of people make at least one of these mistakes, but usually 2, 3, 4 of these mistakes at a time, if not all 6. And if you left today and implemented these strategies, you would see an increase in your business. Even if you've never built anything, you would see an increase in your job. You would see an increase in your overall life if you did everything we talked about. But the truth is, the chances of you actually doing this, actually committing and actually outputting this work is about 5%. And I do not mean anything negative about this, and this is nothing personal. This comes from looking at the data behind who actually ends up taking action on free information. And it's staggeringly low. It's about 5%, which is really kind of unfortunate. But it's the truth. That's a fact of the matter. That's why humans are humans. That's also why we have a program that makes sure you do the work and holds you to it, where we're going to make sure you do the work to guarantee that you see the results that you want. We've worked with many entrepreneurs, helped them build these winning strategies. And there is a clear difference between the 3 and 4 figure beginners and the 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs. There's a huge difference, right? Even the people that are getting into the app business, just the way that they're looking at it, there's a huge difference between them. And we've worked with people on both sides of this and help people move up that food chain, right? Move into the big areas of growth. And I can tell you it has nothing to do with intellect or luck. It does not have to mean you have to go to college or be super smart or that you are the lucky one in your group of friends. It has nothing to do with that. What it really comes down to is exactly what we just talked about. Like having the right systems, putting your energy in the right places, being consistent about it all, building the right products, putting it in the right places, just having all the right mindset and all the right systems about this. That's what it comes down to. And these are things that anybody can do. It does not matter where you came from, where you went to, if you went to college, where you went to college. It doesn't matter about anything. Just a matter of if you're willing to do this. And if you'd like us to help you get to the next level, you can schedule a time to chat. We can't accept a lot of clients, so please only schedule time if you are 100% committed to success and are willing to invest in your business. All right, we are serious about this, but we also are busy. We are doing these things. We are building empires. That is what we do here, and that's who we're interested in working with. We are happy to help and bring people into our level, but we are not interested in wasting our time. So if you are somebody who is ready to make something happen, who is looking at the app business and not really sure if it's right for you, but you know that you want to do it the right way, and you are willing to drop the hammer and get ahead, then you need to get on the phone and talk to Mark about this. All right, go to bluecloudsolutions.com/next-level. You can go there, schedule a time, make sure you show up, right? That's the first piece of this. You got to commit. You got to commit to massive action. Go and sign up and show up for the call. You'll talk to Mark, and if you get accepted, you're going to get monthly and even weekly calls that focus on massive action, accountability systems, introductions to our network, everything else you need. You're going to get all of our courses, all our materials, all our templates, access to our VIP email service, which means that you get direct communication to everyone on the Blue Cloud team, and you get very quick responses about anything that comes up, any questions you have, any concerns you have, anything that comes up. And most importantly, you're going to get a powerful, proven framework to get to the next level in your business, right? If this is something you are ready to invest in, click on the button and schedule a time to chat. Go to bluecloudsolutions.com/next-level and schedule a time. right? Make a shift in your life. This is not going to change. The downloads are not magically going to come up when Apple releases their new phone or when the new iOS comes out. Nothing is going to magically appear. Your life is not just going to magically change. This is a chance to at least give yourself a shot. Okay? Give yourself a chance at make it happen. This is what it's all about. We want winners on our team. We want to work with winners. It's time for you to step up. So thank you so much for taking the time. Go to bluecloudsolutions.com/next-level. Click on the button, and I'll see you in there. Can't wait to talk to you. Can't wait to work with many of you. Thank you for your time, and I will see you soon.